Consumer Society of Kenya has been in existence 2015.
Yes,
You've been on since 2019.
Yes.
Any successful cases that you have prosecuted or followed or represented that have gotten your clients help?
If you remember in 2018, Apollo Mboya had gone to court to challenge some deductions that were supposed to be done.
Yes.
Backdated deductions. They were saying, oh, we had not. So he went and challenged it successfully. The challenge is that how that was sorted out was not clear. I had not joined in.
Yes.
So when I came, now it is, of course, you first need to be, let me say, being an engineer is an advantage when you are dealing with other engineers.
Yeah.
Because they cannot tell you, oh, this is complicated, you can't understand. You are going there saying, I'm an engineer, this one is what I am finding. Do you think I am wrong? Then you are likely to agree. So nowadays, it's a bit structured, and you're not likely to, you can brand someone as Kenya Power are thieves. Yeah. But then they ask you, what have we stolen? Kumbe, it is you who doesn't understand the calculation. But now we have the formula, you have come with the calculation. Then we ask them, what exactly is happening here? Because I have the knowledge and I can understand if you tell me.
Yeah.
So that is why you're finding that where we are heading is likely to be successful. And number two, we have a court case. Much as we have a court case, we have sued them, we have sued the Attorney General and EPRA.
Yeah.
We are still friends because the basis in which we are complaining are also genuine and they can understand.
Right.
In fact, even during the public participation for them to increase the power cost, there is our submission that we did. And we agreed. And they said, we are going to sort that out. But they didn't attend to it. But they have not said, they did not say, because we have letters, emails, and video evidence.
Okay.
So we are not basing it like you are thieves and there is no basis.
Right.
We are simply saying, here, you are shortchanging us, and I think we better agree.
Bring it closer home to someone. You've talked about the water company,
yes.
DevKey,
yes.
and how they are surcharged.
Yes.
Bring it closer home. You see someone who has been spending perhaps 4,000 shillings
yes.
on their electricity bill.
Yes.
And then, pop, they're given a bill of 16,000 or northwards of that.
Yes.
How do you explain that? And what can they do to get justice?
Well, first of all, it's not that the only undoing that Kenya Power is performing there is that they are getting late or they are lazy in reading the readings on the meter in good time. So sometimes because of that laziness, you can't remember the motorbike guys. They are not very, you don't normally see them nowadays. Yes. So nowadays, what they do, they approximate. Once they approximate, then they can be thinking that you've been using 2,000 when we had been reading the meter. So we can imagine that this 2,000 is the same amount that you need to be paying. So they can do that for 20 months. Remember, the cost of power has gone up. Remember, maybe you have been using more than what they have been approximating. Then they come and decide, now we need to go and read that meter. That meter now becomes like it has gone for so many times and they have to bill you the whole amount.
But that sounds like a Kenya Power problem, not
It is a Kenya Power problem. In fact, then the other issue is, the only thing you can agree with them is that, can you give me time to pay slowly? But what I am saying, and that is what we are pushing for, is that even the president has to step in and say, anybody who has arrears of power bills due to lack of Kenya Power taking their readings in good time, that has to be, it has to be written off.
Right.
Because even what cost do we need to pay those tokens on? Because if you didn't manage to read in 2021, right, the cost of power maybe was 16 shillings. Right now it's 33 shillings. What do we do about that?
Right.
The other case that is leading to the cost of power shocking people is sometimes you realize there are people who are using less than 100 kilowatt hours. They had a certain charge they were being charged, and it was quite low. It was almost around 60% of the normal users. Now remember, those people have been moved because of the structuring of the tariffs. There is those people who use between 0 to 30 kilowatt hours. There is 30 to 100, then above 100. All those have got different prices. Now, this person who has been moved to 100, remember, has been moved from something like 19 shillings to 33 shillings. So if you are paying 2,000, you are likely to start paying 5,000. And then, if those people had not been reading your meter, they are going to sum up all the unread units, and then they multiply with the new cost. So you are likely to get 18,000 shillings when you've been used to paying 2,000. So those are the challenges we are finding.
But can we challenge that?
We still can challenge that. It's only that sometimes you don't want to go to court on so many issues, and sometimes these issues can only be handled by the executive.
I can imagine,
yes,
and this is me wearing my strategist kind of hat.
Yes.
for you as the Electricity Consumer Society of Kenya, if you represented one person successfully, it resonates with many people across the country who have been at the receiving end of those bills. Just all of a sudden, I've been paying my bill every month, and then all of a sudden you say you have backdated and this is what you owe. At least, can't you, and this is to speak to the recourse for Mwananchi, can't you represent us, or who do we go to?
First of all, I think it is our job. Much as we don't have, of course, we are representing out of goodwill. It's not that the consumers pay. And if you try, we mentioned this in the Senate, that maybe we need to get a small coin on each kilowatt hour, and maybe we can have the muscle to represent consumers even financially. But then
a small coin on the power that is shocking me.
Yeah, because now let's imagine you're giving Warma 0.02 Kenya shillings per kilowatt hour. If you give me 0.005, that's about a half or a quarter of Warma.
But now you've joined the people who are in the component of.
But we are going to be accountable on what have we done. But now let's stop that. Let's say whatever we are doing it out of our own pocket in the directorship, because we have other things that we do. So that is even when we went to court, there are charges for court. They are the lawyers. We didn't charge anybody so that we represent them in court or something. We did it ourselves. Of course, we've been looking for even international donors. And, but then what they tell us to do is, again, is more of an activist kind of an operation. It's not a professional. So sometimes we also don't, we are not able to agree with them. Because if they say, oh, say Kenya Power is bad, you come and report, oh, we don't want that. We believe we can reason together. But unfortunately, in that reasoning, there is just so much that we can do. And it can only be, now the point at which we have reached, it can only be attended by maybe the president or the CS in case he finds that it's okay with it.
Or the legislators, will you say?
The legislators, unfortunately, that first of all, they need like 4 weeks of training for them to understand this. So for them to challenge it, because otherwise, you will still find that if they have an inquiry, some of them, like when we were doing the public participation for the cost of power, you would find someone lifting a hand and saying, you see, we are talking about the cost of power. Don't increase or increase this bit. Someone lifts a hand and says, there is a pole that has been planted on my farm. I have been telling people to come and connect me to power. You see, that is not related. So even when you go to the parliament, the committees, such are the questions they are likely to be asking. But remember, they want to address the cost of power. So when we want to come and address the cost of power, that is what we say. They must get an expert to guide them. That expert must be having that. And I'm not saying it's going to be me. I even don't want. But they can get an expert. If they don't get, it is at that point, because we are offering it for free anyway. Maybe the expert would be paid. When it comes to such a point, that is the time you get a lawyer is the expert, or you see, or a social person or a doctor in medicine. But for them to get someone who can tell them, this is where the issue is, these are the numbers, and this is what we are doing. Otherwise, they will keep on forming committees, talking, getting sitting allowance and all that, and even calling people and asking them questions, who are the owners of the company, but they will never go anywhere. That I can bet.
All right.
Yes.
So it seems quite much like Kenyans are still very much on their own in terms of being able to
advocate for
advocate. But we've had in the past attempts to lobby against the high costs of electricity. And we have the campaign Switch Off.
Switch Off Kenya Power.
But it hasn't been successful, even lobbying. How come?
Well,
I know you followed that campaign as well.
I followed, but as I have told you, what is making the cost of power expensive is not Kenya Power's responsibility. So if you start attacking them, you will not go anywhere, because that was, public participation was done, and then it was gazetted. And then it has been there for 3 years. So if you have started complaining 3-4 months ago, it's not because of the Kenya Power's cost. It's because of the fuel cost, forex, inflation, and other charges, which Kenya Power cannot discuss about. So that is why we said, even when you want to attack somewhere, like now, you want to challenge that, the fuel cost charge in court, we will not go on 2 issues. So we will not expect Kenya Power to come to respond, because we are not charging them on anything. So when we go to charge the issue of fuel cost charge, we are expecting the Attorney General and the Ministry to come.
So should we run a campaign, because you've said the IPPs are more of the culprits, some of them are very useless in terms of the national grid contribution. So hashtag switch off.
Hashtag explain the fuel cost formula. That's going to be good.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell us about this, something you call and you've termed as, even in the report submitted to Parliament,
yes,
as the dead horse theory.
Yes.
Tell us about that. Why we should care about that dead horse?
The dead horse theory, in fact, has different points, but yes, it is interesting.
Right.
I told the registrators that what you are doing is not different from a dead horse theory.
Okay.
The theory of the dead horse, we are talking. I have it here, and I hope you will find time for me to explain that.
No, we've given you time.
Ah, good. Now,
actually, yeah.
The dead horse.
The image is there of is it of the dead horse?
Yeah. The dead horse theory of bureaucracy says. There is a tribe called the Plain Indians. It was passed from generation to generation, and they used to say that when you discover that you are riding a dead horse, the best strategy is to dismount. When you realize that what you are doing is not working out, you need to abandon it and try something else. But now we were saying, however, in government and more advanced strategies are often employed, such as you can buy a stronger whip, you can change riders, you appoint a committee to study the horse, you have seen committees, you arrange to visit other countries to see how other catchers ride dead horses. You can also lower the standard of the dead horse so that the dead horse can be included. You can also reclassify the dead horse as the living impaired and hiring outside contractors to ride the dead horse. You can harness several dead horses together to increase speed. You can provide additional funding or training to increase the dead horse performance. You can do a productivity study to see if lighter riders would improve the dead horse performance, or declaring that the dead horse does not need to be fed or is less costly and carries lower overheads, and therefore contributes substantially more to the bottom line of the economy than do some other horses. Or you can rewrite the performance requirements of all the horses, or you can promote the dead horse to a supervisory position. You see what happened in the in Kemsa. You found someone being removed from there. And then I'm not sure whether that was, but maybe he was promoted so that he cannot be accountable on something. So we have changed riders, we have formed committees, we have gone to other countries to study the horses. You can even see there are people who had gone to study how spaghetti is grown in other countries. Yet when you are here, you can actually, you have the information. It's only that you are assuming the people who can give you the information.
Right.
So we have that horse of trying to get committees to study about Kenya Power bills and give a recommendation. I'll tell you, even the task force, even the committees, even everything, you will have to change.
Yeah.
You will have to change how you approach it. So the way they are handling it is a dead horse. They need to abandon that, and then we try a new way of doing it. And that is a call to the president, that these committees, leave them alone. The Senate have got a committee on energy. They are finding out. And mind you, they still, the power was increased even when the discussion was on. So you don't even understand what were they doing and what will they do about it after it was increased. So we have to change that horse, and if it is dead, it is dead.
Yes. Yes. Okay, so my brother-in-law, he deals in doing backup systems,
yes,
solar power.
Yes.
Don't worry, to my producer, I'm not going to plug my brother-in-law. He didn't pay for the episode, but
yes,
it speaks to the frustration and desperation that many Kenyans want to turn to solar. In fact, this weekend there's been a lot of activations about like utu to solar lamps to kuweka kwa nyumba.
Yes, yes.
I've seen them around, but it is scorchingly expensive.
Yes.
To put solar,
yes,
as an alternative power, yes, source. Is that deliberate? Is that cartel controlling the market so that people don't? Because we have enough of sun.
We don't have enough of sun. In fact, even the studies that we are doing shows that we can harness a lot of power from solar. Yeah. But unfortunately, power is most of those panels and batteries are normally obtained from other countries.
Yes.
And you see, we have to use dollars. Just the same way Toyota Vitz has been 700,000, is right now I think is 1.3 million. So it's the same way with the panels. Yes. But now the issue of, first of all, for you to get, let me say this because it is clear, that if anybody is installing a solar system in your house, including batteries, and the cost is less than 400,000 today, it's a raw deal. Now, For you to accumulate the savings for 400,000, you might sometimes think that, oh, let me just keep on paying Kenya Power.
Yeah.
So now the payback period of solar is too high. It is only working for the industry because the industry is able to consume that power as it comes during the day. But the battery backup is a little bit more expensive because after every 4 or 5 years, you have to replace the batteries. So whatever amount you had saved from Kenya Power, it is normally taken by new batteries. So that is a very expensive venture, and I don't think that is the way to go. For industrial, it's okay, but for domestic, unless you are seriously off-grid and there is no connection from the national grid, right. That is the only way it makes sense. But anybody trying to sell you, and of course, if you feel like you want to be comfortable and maybe to reduce your bills, that can work, but if you look at the economics of it, the break-even point is not going to be less than 7 years, if you ask me.
Yes. My brother-in-law's company is called Naivasha Solar Experts.
Yes.
Get in touch, especially in and around Naivasha area. He does a great job. And yes, get in touch with him. He's called Colin Kuria. You should be family if you want such advertisements for free on air. So yes, Naivasha Solar Experts. Colin Kuria is the person to get in touch with. You say it's expensive unless you're very much off-grid.
Yes.
So stay on the grid. National grid is what you're saying.
Yes.
Do we have the capacity within Kenya
yes.
to supply all houses, all domestic houses and whatever, just to be self-reliant?
Yes.
Do we have the capacity?
We do have the capacity. Right now, Kenya have got a demand, a maximum demand of 3,000 megawatts. And we have an installed capacity of the same. Most of the time we do 2,700, 2,900. So we are well within. And every time we think we need extra demand, normally we are too slow in just getting all carrier geothermal 6, but we can do a whole 300 megawatt and then get rid of the thermal plants.
Okay.
So we can do that. But we keep on saying, if you ask the people who are in that cartel, they keep on saying, we still need those thermal generators because Kenya doesn't have enough power. But it should be deliberate. If you got SGR, you can get 10,000 megawatt of geothermal and export it to South Africa. It is enough.
Don't get me started with SGR.
Oh.
But this is the last, as our parting discussion or point from you, yes. as the Executive Director of the Electricity Consumer Society of Kenya.
Yes.
Speak to the Mwananchi, the consumer,
yes.
in terms of if there's any recourse, yes. what can we look forward to bring down the cost of electricity? Mm-hmm. And if it's to the president,
yes.
or the people that you feel can actually make a change, yes. what is your call to them?
Right now I would say we don't have a very structured way into trying to deal with the whole 9 million consumers in the country. And by 9 million is 9 million meters of electricity. So you may be 5 in your house, but you only have 1 meter. Mm-hmm. So that one plus another is 9 million currently. So you can see everybody has a complaint. Everybody. Number one, let's just try to look into ways in which you can reduce your consumption, because it is possible. You can keep on buying the LED bulbs instead of the yellow ones. You can just manage on how you can be buying a more efficient fridges and equipment. You can reduce the way in which, there are several things you can do. So that is number one. You manage your energy consumption. You reduce it, because sometimes people can just have a house that all bulbs are on, even when you are just alone, just because you feel like you fear some bedrooms might be having someone. So that way you can decide to just have light bulbs in just around 2 rooms, or the kitchen and the sitting room, and if you go to the toilet, but the problem with Kenya is that you don't want the toilet, you don't want anybody to suspect like you are in some rooms and you are not in others. That is the challenge. So I really would expect that, let that sink into people, that you can reduce power in that manner.
Kenyans are peculiar people.
Yeah, so the other bit is that sometimes in ladies you see that if they open the fridge, for example, they will open the fridge for a long time as they try to sort out what they want to cook. Please open the fridge and close almost immediately, because that costs a lot of money. And sometimes even when you are looking at what you want to cook in your fridge, don't take a lot of time. It's consuming a lot of power, because to cool all that air that has gone in takes a lot of time. Yeah. But well, in case you do have a complaint, I believe that they have now been devolved because we normally have the counties as, we normally have county business managers.
Yes.
It has been devolved. We are having 49 county business managers because Nairobi is 3. And then all the other counties have got each, so 49. You can sort your problems at that point, but I know they will be harassed too much. We have seen like Kenya Power. I think Kenya Power from management up to a certain level, they are good people, they can agree with you. But unfortunately, there is another level which harasses people. They will disconnect your power, they will tell you to go wherever you want. And such people, we need to make them understand that they can also lose jobs because of that. Yes. So in case you have such problems, please put them on social media. We have done a lot with social media.
How can they get in touch with you?
To get in touch with that, we normally have an email, which is ELKOS.ke. ELKOS.ke. ELKOS.ke @gmail.com. So at gmail.com.
Okay.
Even on our website, they can of course get the same email and several other. They can even get contacts on phone numbers and all that. But I still believe that most of the issues that we deal with are the ones to deal with the Stima Plaza, the headquarters.
Right.
So someone in Kisii, we might not be able to assist so much unless it's just for information. Right. If you need some information, explanation, or you've been harassed by a Kenya Power staff, at that point we can come in. But not really that you have not been connected to power and you paid for in a long time ago and such.
But tell you what, I think, and as you think of your message to the president,
yes,
and who you feel can actually cause a difference in this,
yes,
if their heart and head is in the same and right place.
Yes.
If we have enough cases, numerous cases from around the country,
yes,
that are the same in terms of people saying, I've just been given a bill,
yes,
of 14,000. I've
yes,
been paying 2,500. I have to, this has to be addressed.
Yes.
Someone from Narok, someone from Mombasa, someone from Marsabit, wherever. Mm-hmm. Enough cases to build a proper case,
yes,
against the supplier,
yes,
where the president can then say,
yes, if
it's because of your fault not coming to read the meter,
yes,
then it should be written off. So that's why I'm saying people should actually get...
They should try to get in touch with us, yeah, so that we can build enough numbers, and yes, then we can get the message to the people who matter, and most likely the president. I heard the president told someone in I think it was in Ukambani, the MP was seen like he was assaulting a Kenya Power staff. The MP kept on saying that the president said, do not disconnect power, just put a meter. You see, he is riding on that statement, and I'm not sure whether that is what the CS would say for power, but you see the president said something. Yes. Now, if the president would say something like, if Kenya Power did not come to read your meter, and they are now billing you with some backdated bills, don't pay. That is going to sort out a lot of issues, so that we can start afresh.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
But so we still have more messages for the president.
Yes, your message. Just say the last one. The last one. He's watching.
To the president.
Do you feel he understands the problem?
He doesn't understand the problem. He doesn't. He's having. There is a dead horse somewhere.
Yeah.
So to the president, I think the best thing that I would want to make you understand is that the citizens had a lot of hope with you when you are coming to. When you're being elected. In fact, I was part of the people who thought that you're going to get rid of the IPPs that are using thermal. I don't know at what point the transaction or the discussion changed. I even thought that you had put your right-hand man in the ministry, who is Davis Churchill. He is not now listening or discussing about that issue. It has even become worse than the previous government. So, and the biggest problem we have is the formula. If you make us, you make them explain to us this formula bit by bit, because we have our own reason of thinking that it is wrong, I think we'll be very happy. We are free and we are open if you invite us, and we'll come and explain all that. And in presence of the legal advisors, the economic advisors, and everybody else, before we become one of your advisors. Thank you.
Sounded like a pitch there, engineer, but thank you very much for the time that you've given us and the illuminating conversation on this. Yes, I don't quite think I heard what my producer had to say there at the very end, but as yes, I think yes. Anyway, that's just to the viewer. Anyway, I really appreciate your time. Not many people knew that ELKOS existed, and it's good that now people understand. Keep pushing, keep holding the people to account. That is those people who are the producers, the distributors, Kenya Power, and even the government, because people like you who understand, take the time, do the math, that it adds up for the mwananchi. So, and we hope you'll stay consistent.
We will.
Hautaonwa kando unyamaze, uzime
No,
stima.
we can't. We are very noisy fellows. Even tukionwa kando, we will still say we have something for the citizens, tugawane, and then we continue making noise. Yes.
What did you tell me to say, Mr. Producer, sir? Welcome to the future, and stay enlightened. That's been Social Newsroom. Good night.